sat down with a group that included Michigan State students and community activists. 4 of them identified as Democrats. We talked about a range of topics, including the challenges Mr. Biden faces in a state that supported him in 2020.
While I'm not pleased with everything he's done, I still just think he's the better choice. He's the safer choice. He's the more stable choice.
Because you think Donald Trump will be the Republican nominee?
I do.
Hasan, you did change your mind.
Yes.
On the president. Why?
I was a champion for Joe Biden until October 7th. I feel he's disowned us, disenfranchised us with his stance on Gaza.
What do you mean by that?
He's not listening to us. We are asking for a ceasefire at this time. It's a humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza. Too many lives are being lost at this time. I was never a single issue voter. In fact, I used to argue with people not to be single issue voters, but for me, this is a deal breaker. Way too many lives have been lost.
When you say us, you're Muslim. Is that what
Yes.
you mean? You think the Muslim community here feels as you do?
Yes, I think a vast majority of Muslims, Arab Americans, even progressives, who I identify myself as a progressive, and many people that I talk to in my circles are not going to be voting for Joe Biden.
Kathy, how do you feel about this issue?
Well, I feel like it's really a difficult issue, but I'm glad we have someone like Biden with his wisdom and experience trying to decide how to handle this. I believe that I like when he says things like Israel has the...
It's just insane to me. Like, if I'm sitting in that room, man, that's incredible, dude. Being able to sit in that room and not like lose your mind is actually wild. If I hear something like this in the wild, I don't know what I would do. I feel like I would genuinely snap. Or at the very least be snarky. You know what I mean?
right to defend itself and to do what it needs to do to protect its citizens from Hamas. I think he stresses that Israel's got to be really careful not to commit war crimes. I think he's been really clear on that. I just don't know what else he can do. I think people think he has more power over Netanyahu than...
Yeah, liberals are fucking such cucks, dude. God, such pathetic cucks. Oh, well, then why do you vote for him? Like, what's the whole point? First of all, he absolutely does have a tremendous amount of power over the situation. Every American president does. Okay? Look how callous she is. Look at how careless she is. Oh, Biden is saying Israel shouldn't do war crimes. Well, what can he do? He's only the president of America. And like giving them the weapons, dude. Giving them the weapons.
He does.
So abortion is legal and protected in the state of Michigan. Your state voted for that. But do all of you have any vision for what should happen at the national level? If you see Donald Trump elected, Sean, do you think that there will be federal limits on abortion access?
No, I don't believe so, because I think the court has been quite clear, and this was through their opinion in the Dobbs case, allowing states to tailor their own methods for regulating abortion, and then in the several concurrences by the justices who wrote that opinion, that it wasn't going to be federally regulated. The only way you can do that is if you change the Constitution. So I could see...
Or write a new law.
Well, they could write a new law, but unless they add it into the to an amendment, then I could see the court swiftly striking it down like the court does.
Why would they do that? Why would you ever believe that the Supreme Court would not uphold? The entire reason as to why the Roe v. Wade decision came down in the way that it did is because they lied already. Every American voter is so stupid. I'm sorry. Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter. Every American voter that thinks in either of these directions is an absolute fucking dumbass, okay? if you think that the Supreme Court is going to, obviously the Supreme Court is going to behave in a way that they haven't behaved in, and actually, care about the Constitution and uphold it, and immediately strike down a federal, federal abortion ban. But like, I'm glad that he's talking right after the old lady did. Because the old lady Democrat is on the exact opposite side of the spectrum, saying the exact opposite dumbass bullshit. Hello? She just said, well, what can Joe Biden do? Withhold aid. Withhold weapons and munitions. What do you mean? That's it. Not bomb Yemen, but do the blockade himself. Or even threaten to, because it would never get to that point. If America decided to withdraw support from Israel, it's over. The next day is over, okay? There's no tomorrow. It's over in that moment. It is one of the easiest things that you can actually call, with so much power that you have over the situation, with so much influence you have over the situation. Anyway. It blows my mind. If Biden is such a small bean, then why vote for him anyway? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Does with many things in either presidency for Trump or Biden. And so I'm not exactly worried about that issue. I would like to see instead what I just said, where Congress does make an amendment protecting the life of everyone, including people in the womb.
Some of the Republican candidates have different visions on what you just laid out there. You are shaking your head vehemently, so I have to know. You feel strongly. Please tell me how much of reproductive rights are a factor in your presidential campaign vote?
Oh, it's huge. The president chooses our Supreme Court justices. I wish I had confidence that you say in our Supreme Court justices. I think there's probably, it's one of the most important things that the president does, and that we have had justices put in under President Trump that are, really changing precedent in major ways that I find very disconcerting, and I'm very concerned about reproductive freedom in this country.
And you are as well.
Same. I mean, I think it was, looking bigger picture, just the last few Supreme Court nominees, the process was totally upended and totally disregarded. And I think it starts with that. And then freedoms were rolled back, such as reproductive freedoms. So I'm fortunate that we have protected them in the state of Michigan. I think, just again, the American people are for some type of abortion protection. Certainly there's a sliding scale, but for the federal government to just disregard that and go the other way, I think is appalling.
Saba, you said reproductive rights are a huge factor for you, but that you probably won't vote for President Biden.
I think it would be hypocritical of me to use reproductive rights as a way to justify voting for Biden when Biden is aiding and sending military aid to Israel, which is airstriking Gaza and blocking humanitarian aid, leading to women there who are pregnant, either getting C-sections without anesthesia, not being able to be provided with prenatal care.
It's interesting that, just to button this up, you are not very excited about the Democratic candidate, but I saw the both of you are excited, but I saw the both of you jump when we talked about reproductive access. That is something that's going to make you show up to vote, even though you're kind of on the candidate.
I think so. I mean, I'm certainly a frustrated Democrat at the moment, I would say. I think Joe Biden's made a lot of missteps. I think he's not a perfect man. He's not a perfect candidate, but nobody is. And I think he's done the best, but I think it's been alarming to see the...
I'm glad that she just skipped the well thought out and clever response that Saba gave. That was very nice that she just like kind of skipped over her to go back to another white lady that will hopefully give her what she actually wants. You know what I mean? Crazy stuff. Like, cut her off to ask this other lady.
The things that have gone on, particularly in the Supreme Court, around things like reproductive rights, it's been alarming. And I just think it's a huge wake-up call to women, to young women.
Damn. Damn, this one is 9 ounces of chicken. That's crazy. 9.8 ounces of chicken. Why do you keep posting this? Houthi attacks in Red Sea delay arrival of critical Yad Sarah medical equipment. Yeah, I know. I know, man. I got it. And people say this does nothing. Yeah, it does. That's the whole point of a fucking blockade. I know.
We spoke to one of your constituents last night who said he went door to door for Joe Biden in 2020, but he's lost his vote in 2024, and he said he plans to protest against him. Is President Biden going to face protesters when he comes here because of this one issue?
He may. A lot of voters are going to vote for things like individual freedoms, like the basis of our democracy, climate change.
Save us, white
so
woman.
there are a lot of things that are going to come into play
Save
as
us.
we get closer and closer to the election. But certainly these are legitimate and raw feelings that people have. And
it's like kind of wild to say it's like a single issue because like, yeah, dude, if a fucking genocide's happening, like that does automatically or should automatically become the single issue, right? This isn't like fucking gun control, you know? Which is still very, very, very important.